I still remember the smell of charcoal in the air that day. That deep, smoky scent always meant family to me. Kids running around barefoot, folding chairs sinking into the grass, uncles with baseball caps flipped backward, and my aunt's famous potato salad sweating under foil. I'd been looking forward to this barbecue all week. Work had been brutal, and honestly, I missed seeing everyone in one place. It was one of those rare gatherings where the whole extended family showed up, even the cousins I only ever saw when someone got married or passed away. My wife, Emily, had gone ahead earlier to help set up. At least that's what she told me. I figured it made sense. She and my sister had gotten close over the years, and she liked being part of the behind the scenes. By the time I parked a couple blocks away, I could already hear the laughter carrying over the hum of cicadas. I balanced the cooler against my hip and walked up the driveway. No one saw me at first. The yard was buzzing, burgers sizzling, someone playing old Motown through a Bluetooth speaker, kids darting through a sprinkler. I rounded the corner to the back patio, ready to surprise her. But then I froze. Emily was standing with my sister and a few of my cousins, her back partly to me. They were laughing, really laughing, the kind where someone has to put a hand on their knees to catch their breath. And then, clear as day, I heard her voice, louder than the rest. "He's not even invited." It was casual, almost flippant, like it was the punchline to some private joke. I don't think she realized I was there. The words landed like a gut punch. My first instinct was to check if she was talking about someone else. Some distant uncle, maybe a neighbor. But then I saw the look my sister gave her. Awkward, quick, like she'd just realized I was in earshot. I kept walking, slow, quiet, but my mind was racing. The cooler felt twice as heavy. I stopped a few feet short of the grill, and that's when it hit me. Whatever she meant, it was about me. The laughter had already shifted into some other conversation by the time I set the cooler down. No one greeted me right away. It was as if I'd walked into a room where everyone had been talking about me and suddenly forgot how to make eye contact. I didn't say a word. I didn't want to give away that I'd heard anything. My chest felt tight, like the air was pressing in. I opened the cooler, pulled out a pack of buns, and set them next to the condiments. I stood there for a second, staring at the grill. The coals were glowing, the heat radiating against my hands. My wedding ring, a simple band I'd barely taken off in 7 years, suddenly felt like it weighed a pound. I slipped it off. For a moment, I just held it there, feeling the indent it had left in my skin. Then I set it gently on the corner of the grill, right beside the tongs. Not tossed, not hidden, just placed where she'd find it when she came back for the burgers. No big scene, no words. I turned and walked back through the yard, past the picnic tables and the lawn games, past my sister's half-confused, half-knowing glance, out the side gate, into the driveway, and down the street to my car. The whole way, I kept hearing her voice in my head, bright, casual, cruel in the way only someone you trust can be cruel. "He's not even invited." By the time I shut my car door, I knew I wasn't going back. I didn't start the car right away. I just sat there, staring through the windshield at nothing, my hands resting on the steering wheel. The smell of charcoal still clung to my shirt. My phone buzzed in my pocket, 3 times in quick succession. I didn't need to check to know who it was. "Emily." I finally looked. "Where did you go? You forgot the cooler." Babe. That was almost funny. 10 minutes ago, I was not even invited." I tossed the phone into the passenger seat and just sat there, listening to the muffled hum of music from the yard. I could see a few silhouettes moving around, probably her, probably looking for me. I thought about getting out, confronting her right then and there. But the truth was, I didn't trust myself to speak without it all spilling out in a way I couldn't take back. Instead, I turned the key and eased the car down the street, past rows of parked trucks and sedans. It felt like leaving more than a barbecue. It felt like stepping out of my own life. Halfway home, my phone lit up again, this time with a call. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call came in, this one from my sister. She never called me during a family gathering unless something was wrong. I answered. "Where are you?" she asked, her voice low. "Driving," I said. "You heard her, didn't you?" I didn't answer. Silence was enough. It wasn't. She stopped herself. "Look, maybe it came out wrong. You know how Emily jokes sometimes." "Yeah," I said, my voice flat. I know exactly how she jokes. We were quiet for a moment. Then she sighed. "I'll call you later, okay?" By the time I pulled into our driveway, the house felt different, still, but not peaceful. like the walls themselves knew something had shifted. I walked in, grabbed a duffel from the closet, and started tossing clothes into it without really thinking. It wasn't rage driving me. It was something calmer, heavier. I wasn't leaving forever. At least, I didn't think so. But I knew I couldn't sit at the dinner table with her tonight and pretend nothing happened. I was zipping the bag when the front door opened and slammed shut. "Where the hell did you go?" Emily's voice came from the hall, tight with irritation. I didn't turn around. "Home. You just left?" Without saying a word. I set the bag on the bed and finally looked at her. She was still in her barbecue clothes, denim shorts, her hair tied up, sunglasses perched on her head. She looked more annoyed than concerned. "I heard you," I said. She blinked. "Heard me what?" "At the grill. He's not even invited." Her mouth opened, then closed. She crossed her arms. "Oh, come on. That was a joke. We were talking about how you never RSVP to these things. I didn't think you'd. You didn't think I'd what? Show up?" That shut her up for a second. I grabbed my bag and brushed past her toward the door. "I'm going to stay somewhere else tonight." She followed me to the porch. "You're overreacting." I turned, meeting her eyes. Maybe. Or maybe I'm finally reacting. And with that, I walked to my car. I checked into a small motel on the edge of town that night. One of those places where the ice machine is always broken and the floral bedspread hasn't been updated since the 90s. It was quiet, though, and I needed quiet. For the first hour, I just lay there staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed with more texts from Emily, some angry, some pleading, one that simply said, "Call me." I didn't. By morning, the messages had stopped. 2 days passed before I heard from her again. This time, she showed up at the motel. I spotted her through the blinds before she knocked. She looked tired, pale, dark circles under her eyes. I let her in. She stood there for a moment, holding her phone like it was some kind of offering. "I need to explain." "Go ahead." She took a breath. "We were talking about how my cousin wanted to bring her new boyfriend, and I said, he's not even invited. It was about him, not you. Then someone joked about how you never RSVP, and I laughed. It probably sounded bad." I studied her face. She wasn't lying, not exactly, but she wasn't telling the whole truth either. I knew that tone, that slight lean on a half-story to avoid the harder part. "What I don't understand," I said, "is why nobody corrected me when they saw I was there. Why your face didn't change when you realized I heard it." Her eyes flickered. "Because, for a second, I thought maybe it was easier if you believed it." That hit harder than the words at the barbecue. "Easier," I repeated. She nodded, looking down at her hands. "You've been distant lately. Always working, always somewhere else in your head." I didn't know how to bring it up. Part of me thought if you walked away on your own, maybe that was the answer. It was strange, how betrayal didn't always come in the form of cheating or screaming. Sometimes it was just someone quietly deciding you were already halfway gone and making peace with it. I sat back in the chair. "So you decided to speed it along?" Her voice was small. I didn't think it would matter. That was it. The moment the weight in my chest lifted, not because it didn't hurt, but because I finally understood. I stood, grabbed my bag, and walked toward the door. She didn't follow. When I got to my car, I realized I'd left my wedding ring on the grill 2 days ago. It was probably still sitting there, maybe moved to a drawer by now. But I didn't want it back. Some endings aren't about slamming doors or shouting matches. Sometimes they're just a quiet walk to your car, knowing the life you built isn't where you belong anymore. I started the engine, pulled out onto the road, and didn't look in the rearview mirror.